If you're fairly new to sync licensing, you need to know that speed does matter. Okay. This is a fast moving business. It's both fast and slow. Let me explain. It's slow in that it takes forever to finally see your royalties come in. You guys know that. It takes forever sometimes for libraries to register tracks. It takes forever to start seeing some of your placements roll in, especially if you're sitting there waiting for them. Psychologically, it's a torture session. But it's also fast in that if you are working with a high quality library and you start getting some custom opportunities and custom briefs, you'll have very tight deadlines. And we're talking end of the day. You get a brief at 6 a.m. I've had a few of these. Hey, 6 a.m. This is what we need. Can you get it to us by 5 p.m.? Or 24 hours, 48 hours. Sometimes, you get a brief where it's like Friday morning. They're going to come back and have a meeting at Monday at 11 a.m. So you basically have the weekend. Meanwhile, you had some plans to go do something fun for the weekend. And it's basically going to eat up your whole weekend. Are you game? Are you not? Speed and availability are very, very important in this business. Now, why is it that these massive deadlines and these massive projects have these just extremely ridiculously quick turnarounds? The obvious answer is that music is the last item in the production schedule for everything. If it's a TV show, if it's a movie, if it's a commercial, if it's a trailer, it doesn't really matter what it is. Everybody else has been paid already. Everybody else has been hired. Everybody else has done their little thing. And then it's, oh yeah, we need music, right? At the very end, music is usually the last item that needs to be included in a show or in a trailer, or in a movie, or whatever it is, to basically put the final stamp of like, okay, we are now good to go. Let's start promoting this and putting it out online. So we are basically the last item that needs to get done. And usually that means also that expectation to get the project done is at its highest, right? At the beginning, the ball's rolling for somebody creating, let's say, a TV show or a movie. By the time the music needs to be selected, like the expectation from the director or from the producer or whoever's in charge of it, they're like itching to get this thing out there because they've probably been sitting on it already for probably years, if not at least multiple months. And they're so close to the finish line, and this music is this just last thing. So obviously it's like all this anxiety and tension and expectation to just, all right, let's just get this music done real quick and let's go, right? Because some people value and understand how important music is, but most people probably don't. And they just know you got to have some music in there, and they just want to throw it in there and get it done, right? I'm not speaking for everybody, but it's definitely been the case in a lot of the TV opportunities I've seen. They just know they got to have something in there. It's not that picky in terms of, but they just know they got to get it now. So your ability to be there on call from a production music library to say, absolutely, boss, I'm on it. I'm here. I'm going to be here all weekend. I'm going to get it to you not only by this deadline, but I'm going to get it to you ahead of schedule. And let's say they want 2 tracks. Well, you say, you can count on me for 3. Or maybe you don't even tell them that. You say, sure, I'm going to get you 2 tracks by Monday at 11, and Monday at 9 a.m. or Sunday night, even better, at 5 p.m., you give them 3 tracks, right? Your quality, of course, matters. Your professionalism, of course, matters. But that speed, that ability to deliver on time is going to be so, so important. Because what it can do is, of course, if your quality is there, take that for granted. What that speed can do is it puts everybody's emotional anxiety at bay, right? It calms down everybody who's a little bit worried. Are we going to get this done? Are you going to give us the music we need? Et cetera, et cetera. Not only with the client who's going to license your music, but with your production music library CEO representative. They're also sitting there biting their nails going like, man, are you guys going to get this done? Thinking about their composers, making sure, hoping, and hopefully they have some confidence that they will. But there's got to always be a piece of their brain of like, well, what if something happens to Joe? And Joe's my best producer. If he gets in a car accident this weekend, like he's not going to get it to me, and then we're not going to blah, 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 right? All those kind of things start going through people's heads. So if you're one of the few composers that's like, absolutely, got you, boss, here you go. And it's professional, and you've quality control, checked everything, you've listened to everything, you've made sure you've given them all the assets, you've labeled things properly, you bounced it at the correct wave file format or AIF format or whatever they want, at the correct bit rate, at the correct sample rate, details, right? You always make sure that you're the one delivering things without giving any headaches, any homework, any extra assignments for them to have to fix for you, and you're doing it within the deadline or before the deadline. You're calming them down. And when people feel anxious or worried and you're the solution to that, you better believe they remember that. You better believe that that becomes something that they go, oh, Joe's the guy or Jane's the girl. They're the ones that really can get this done. I can count on them no matter what. They're the person. So it's just something I've noticed in my career, that the few times that these custom opportunities have popped up, I've always made a rule for myself to basically just try to say yes to every single one. There have been the occasional exception where I'm out of town, don't have my laptop, whatever, can't do it. It's funny, I always had this interesting thing where every time I planned to go out of town is when massive opportunities would always pop up. It's like as I'm getting on the plane, I learned very quickly, bring your laptop, bring something that you can make some music with if something pops up. Because literally, it happened more than a few times to be a coincidence where I'm on the plane getting ready to go for a trip or vacation, and it's like text, hey, we need something by tomorrow by 5, you down? Like, of course you're going to give me this now while I'm sitting on the plane getting done. But again, I decided that I did want to go for those kind of things. So you're basically solving problems for people when they know they can count on you. You're solving their mental stress, and they're going to remember you. So one other thing I want to bring up in this as well, for those of you that are newbies, fairly new into the industry, or maybe not new to making music, but you are new into production music, and definitely maybe new into trying to get into TV film production music libraries. I would say if you're kind of learning the ropes and learning how production music works and all the kind of golden rules that we teach you guys, I would say before you start pitching to libraries, it's better to work on your speed first before you actually pitch to a production music library. And I'll explain why. 2 very, very important reasons. Number 1, if you are learning about production music in the beginning phases, you're probably not great at it yet. Not to be insulting, but I wasn't great at it either. Nobody who first gets started with production music is going to be great. So we all have to go through what I call the suck phase. You're going to suck at it for a little while, right? It might be 10 tracks, it might be 20 tracks, it might be 50 tracks, or maybe even more. But for a while, as you get to learn this stuff, as you listen to more production music, you kind of A/B compare your music, maybe get some feedback, whatever you're going to do to try to get yourself better at this. You're going to have a suck phase. It's going to last probably a couple of months at least. It could be longer, but whatever you do, probably the first couple of tracks that you put together are not going to be the best ones that you want to lead yourself into this industry with, right? You're going to want to probably get that suck phase out of the way. Well, it's better to do that before you're pitching the libraries. So what you can do as you are learning and getting better at producing production music is try to improve and increase your speed as you do it. So right now, maybe you're at 1 track a week. 1 track you can get done with your full-time job and everything else you're doing. I would strongly encourage you to try to get up to 2 tracks as soon as possible, okay? Right now, that sounds impossible. You don't got time to do it. No way. Everything sounds impossible until you put yourself under the pressure. I can guarantee you, if you do well under pressure, I am somebody that does. I think people probably that thrive in sync licensing generally are people that can and even do better under pressure. Put yourself under a little bit more time constraint. Make sure that whatever you got done in an hour, see if you can get that done in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. What you'll find is you start to focus on your speed is it'll force your brain to start making creative decisions much quicker. Right now, many of you are probably stuck in perfectionism where it's like, well, that's not the best melody I've ever made. That's not the best drum beat that's ever been created, so I'm not going to move forward with it. Those kind of decisions are those thoughts are probably why you're taking so long. I find with the very short timelines where I have to put something together, I love that I have to forfeit the perfectionism because I don't have time to be a perfectionist at this point. I've got to create something that grooves, that's got good energy, that builds, that's focused, that's staying in one lane, one emotional focus, one genre. If it's got all that and I'm bobbing my head to it, great. And that's all I think about. I'm not worried about all the other extra stuff. So putting yourself under a little bit of pressure, trying to increase your speed, is not only going to be better for your creativity and for your output, but obviously once you're used to making, let's say 2 to 3 tracks per week, you've gotten it out of your suck phase. Your music is probably getting a lot better now after a couple of months of doing this. You can then approach libraries. And for those of you that want to get into that inner circle as soon as possible, I can tell you quality, professionalism, being a cool person for sure, very, very important, but speed will be that magical third thing that will jet boost and propel you directly into the inner circle faster than anything else, right? Because in the beginning, you're going to pitch them probably 5 tracks, 10 tracks, an album, something like that. If you can turn around, ask them, what do you need next? Oh, we want more of that. We could actually use tons of this music. Our clients are eating it up like crazy. You come back to them in 3 weeks or a month. Here's another one. Boom, 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 boom. That gets their attention. Wow, this is a hungry producer. This is a producer that's ready to go. Okay, hey, we've got this custom opportunity. Can you get this done by next Tuesday at 3:00? You get it to them by Monday at 10. That speaks volumes. You immediately jump past all the other producers and composers that are not nailing deadlines, that are not available or even answering those emails. And of course, following directions and getting them the assets and the deliveries and following the brief, reading the brief, all that kind of good stuff, right? And doing it in a very professional and friendly way. You're doing these things, but you're doing it with speed. You're unstoppable. I'll just be honest. You are going to be an unstoppable person. So for some of you, that's a turnoff. You're like, creativity shouldn't be done with speed in mind. It should be done with these other considerations in mind. I'm not going to prioritize for speed. I'm going to prioritize for blah, 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 blah. There are going to be times where you don't need to be worried so much about speed. Absolutely. But a lot of this business is going to require that you drop the perfectionism and you just get the damn thing done in a very, very timely manner. So I wanted to give you guys that tip and those insights. And I'm curious if you guys have noticed that as well, for some of you that have been working with libraries, if speed has made a big difference for you. So please do comment below. We'd love to hear from you.